And Alice is going to talk to us a little bit about curriculum. Do you need to follow a curriculum? What is out there? What do different people do? What kinds of things should you maybe consider when thinking about how you're going to home educate?
Thanks, Juliet. So, do I need to follow a curriculum? Well, the short answer is no. You don't have to follow any particular curriculum. And Juliet's already mentioned you don't have to follow the national curriculum. You don't have to follow any particular curriculum. And there's great liberty in that. But it can also feel quite disorientating, especially when you're first setting out. It's like being cast adrift from the pathways we know that are kind of safe and familiar. And crafting an educational pathway can feel like quite a big responsibility. But the beauty of home education is its freedom, the freedom that you have to create this educational pathway that suits your particular child, your particular family. Our children enjoy the privilege, actually, of a tailor-made education. And I wish that every child had such an opportunity. So as you start out, I would really caution you against buying any expensive curricula, however tempting it might be, but rather just take some time to enjoy being together, spending time together, doing all sorts of things, baking and art and reading and getting outside, allowing your children time to play, just whatever it is that your family enjoy. Listen to your children. What is it that they're interested in? What are they talking about? What are they watching? What questions are they asking? Always start with the child. And in moments of doubt and uncertainty, which inevitably you will have, always return there to the child. It's really quite a powerful process to see how learning emerges and to follow lines of curiosity and to allow ourselves to relinquish control and just to be led down unfamiliar pathways, discovering how much we don't know and how much there is to explore together with our children. And one of the great treasures of home education is in the conversations that we enjoy, even like disagreements and arguments. Enable our children to hone critical thinking skills and communication skills, which are actually really important. And it's really important to consider the needs of the family as well and your own needs as a facilitator. And there are different approaches, there are different methodologies out there, some of which you've already heard are represented on tonight's panel. And do put your questions for us all in the chat. What resonates with you? What feels like a good fit for you and your family? If a curriculum is helpful, then follow one. There are so many resources available online nowadays, but remember that a curriculum is just a collection of what somebody somewhere has deemed important. And so your family's own heritage, your location might make some topics feel like a more important focus than others. I was always really inspired in our home education journey by the Reggio Emilia pedagogy, which emerged in a community in northern Italy in response to World War II. Parents didn't want their children to be susceptible to powerful political ideology. And so they formulated these community-oriented preschools, which emphasized co-constructed learning experiences. So the child learning in their environment, supported by reflective facilitators. So home education is not only about your child, it's also about you. It's about your family and your community and the learning environment that you create. And these are more important factors actually than any particular curriculum. I often say home education parents develop antennae. We become alert to learning opportunities and we kind of lay out this feast, offering our children the chance to try things. And of course, they might not like everything we offer. That's okay, but it's good to try different experiences. And we can model this too by being open ourselves and by continuing to learn ourselves, by pushing ourselves out of our comfort zones, because it's our learning adventure too. In our family, the boys have appreciated the opportunity to invest a lot of time in things that they really love and that they're good at and that they're interested in. For our eldest, this was engineering. He moved from Lego Technic to pulling real car engines apart. And for our third son, it was tennis, and relationships that he forged at the local tennis club gave him opportunity to grow in responsibility. Now he's part of the coaching team there. And so many life skills which are useful in later employment are forged by learning in this way, by pursuing interests, and by encountering mentors in the community. And in community, ideas cross-pollinate. Books and games and documentaries are recommended, and interests are shared and sparked, and opportunities present themselves. And seeing learning emerge like this, just as you live life together, it builds your trust and your confidence in the process over time. Human beings come into the world programmed to learn, to absorb the culture around them, to become proficient players. So as facilitators, we support that growth, and we can continually evaluate and discuss and put into our days and our months and our years the things that we all need to thrive in a process of co-creation. Of course, it can be challenging. It can be challenging to trust one another, to upturn traditional power dynamics, and to move away from systems that we're familiar with. It can be particularly challenging when it comes to exams. In our house, as our boys moved into their teen years, we had many discussions about exams and about what they wanted to pursue. And it's important to remember that even exams are not compulsory, that there are other ways you can move into valuable work. Exams might not be right for all children. Our older three all chose to do GCSEs in different ways because they saw them as being recognisable in our wider cultural context. And the exam years are not without their stresses, but you can work backwards. So you can look ahead to where a young person wants to go and then consider what they need to do in order to get there. So one of our sons wanted to do a course at college post 16. It required 5 GCSE passes, including maths and English. So we worked backwards and did what he needed to do to get to where he wanted to go. And the good thing about doing exams independently from home is that he had more choice about the subjects that he chose, relevant things to his future career. And you can spread the exams over several years if you choose. There's not the same pressure, there's not the same overwhelm as there is for many students in years 10 and 11 in our school system. So we found that as self-directed learners, our boys found their own motivation when it mattered to do the things that were important to them. And intrinsic motivation, whether they're in school or not, cannot be coerced. Research suggests that intrinsic motivation is nurtured by contexts which are high in autonomy and competence and relatedness, which are conditions home education would seem amply to supply. So beyond exams, it's 21st century skills such as communication, critical thinking, collaboration, creativity that employers want to see in our young people. So play, trust, autonomy, competence, relatedness, intrinsic motivation. I would suggest fostering these things is more important than any curriculum. So as you start out, consider what values underpin your decision to home educate. Think ahead 5, 10 years. Think about what you want for your children, for yourself, for your family. It helps at the start of the journey to consider your destination, and this is then something that you can return to, particularly at times of doubt and when you lose your way, because home education has its ups and downs. Of course it does, just like any parenting.